You on?
Okay.
You ready? Good. Feel good? Okay. Tim, Alex, Tim. First question, I think that would be really interesting is like, as briefly as possible, how did you get here coaching the ice lines? Like, what was that process like?
Well, I've been in Kenya for 9 years, and a few years ago, I was coming out here. We play shinny out here on Wednesday nights, pickup hockey, and Saturday mornings. And one day, Ben Azaguer, who's captain of the Kenya Ice Lions, turned and said, "We want to take this up another notch. We want to play serious competitive hockey. We want to make the Olympics." And so I was like, Ben, you're crazy. It's not about the Olympics. I said it's about organization and skill level, and hockey is probably the most difficult team sport in the world.
Yeah.
So I said, why don't we just keep playing for fun and we can do some coaching and help you along that way? And he's like, no. He kept pushing me. Finally, I said, okay, now we're all in.
Yeah.
We're all in on this. And if you watch the Kenya Ice Lions play now, they're a really good team.
Yeah.
Serious in skills and everything. They've come a long way. So I'm hooked. I'm a coach and doing the general manager duties and helping them along that way.
So when Ben first approached you, were you surprised, or did you know him at all via shinny? Like, were you guys close at all, or was it like blindsided? Or?
Well, we knew each other from hockey, and we knew that Alibaba had taken them to China, 5 of them, just to watch the Winter Olympics in South Korea.
Yeah.
And so that really helped inspire them first.
Okay.
So then we started doing a lot more after he asked for the help. And then we hooked up with Tim Hortons.
Yeah.
And we had a bunch of them go to Canada, and they got some training, and they got to play with Sidney Crosby and Nate McKinnon, my friend's team in Mississauga, which was great. And that really inspired them. They came back with full equipment from CCM, and they started throwing the body around. And they started to get serious, and they had real sticks now, not these old wooden ones. Yeah. And the game took off from that point on.
So that's kind of an interesting sort of moment. You've traveled with this team, you've traveled to play hockey. Is there anything you've noticed, or it's like, in terms of, a lot of people say the love for the game crosses borders. Are there like benefits or things you notice that are good about, hockey communities coming together? Or can you talk more about this idea of like, for this tournament, we had people all over the world come around. Is that, is that a good thing? Like, how does it impact program?
It's a great thing. There's two aspects to this. First, there's the individual, and there's the collective team. So by having these international games, you watch the players develop, you watch them take it to another level, not only on the ice, but off the ice. Yeah. And they learn a lot in this process, because hockey's a sport, it's supposed to be fun. Yeah. I'm not too worried about anybody making pro or going to the Olympics. What it's about is learning about yourself as an individual, how do you fit on a team, how do you develop as a person, learning about the team itself, the challenges, what you are and what you aren't, and how you adapt and learn to that in life. And I have seen that so much with the ice lines. Ice hockey being such a challenging sport, and with only this one small ice to play on, they have moved up the learning curve faster than anybody I've ever seen. I've coached 10 years in Canada. Nobody in North America moves up the learning curve like that. And that's because they're hungry for it. And these international tournaments, and so with the Howe Friendship International League coming here, it's amazing. It inspires them. Yeah. It completely inspires them. So we have some really good, brought some really good players. They watch them.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're going to be watching video, I guarantee you, and watching, okay, how did the guy get around me? What did we do? And then they're also looking at it long term and going, hey, when I'm 60 years old or 50 years old, I want to be traveling the world. And doing these friendship things too, and building relations.
Now, that's interesting. Is that a directed, like, have you taught them to analyze video and watch their plays? Or is that something that they, like, is that the love for the game manifesting itself in them?
Oh, it's the love for the game. I'll come out here early sometimes on a Saturday morning before we play pickup hockey. Some of these guys will snuck on the ice at 6:30 in the morning.
Really?
The guard kind of lets them in. They don't turn on the lights. And what they've done is they've watched YouTube videos all night. And you can watch, they come out, they set up the pylons, so they put sticks on top, so they can pass under the sticks and around the stick. All of these things you see on YouTube videos and coaching videos, they're doing. And that's their love of the game.
So, you've coached for 10 years. Is it safe to say that you've seen a lot of passionate kids, is it equal to things you've seen? Is it kind of surpassed in some regards?
It's way higher than North America. It's way higher. So when we do the kids coaching on Sunday afternoons, we're over full.
Really?
And so these are kids who've never been on ice before, a lot of them. and they're moving up that learning curve so fast, and they love it. They're playing with half gear on, things falling apart, sticks that come up past their head, but they love it. And so we need more ice time now.
Yeah.
Right? So this tournament was a big boost for the overall Kenya Ice Lions, the youth division and the adult division. In the stands today, we had about 20 young players who were training on Sundays here as fans watching. So that was inspiring for them.
That's awesome. Yeah, this is kind of more of a personal one. So I went to North Korea to play hockey, and that was an interesting trip because I thought there were going to be big cultural tensions being American. And when I got there, I noticed the love, you know, we talk about the love of the game, like it is such a bridge for people to come together and be friends and develop relationships. So I kind of came up with this line, like sports diplomacy. And I want to ask you a question, like, this is an abstract question, do you think world issues could be solved if people got together and played sports together?
Oh, definitely, definitely. We need more of this. We had Slava Fedosov, the Russian great defenseman, former minister of sport, advisor to President Putin, come on a climate change issue. And we organized a very successful tournament with that to talk about climate change issues. And then we had him and his team come, and they went and met the Maasai community here, the local communities, and saw how climate change was affecting their lives. And hockey was the tool to do that. And we've had many other experiences. So we Kenyans now have friends in Finland, Sweden, Slovakia, Czech Republic, Canada, the USA, of course. And we're building these bridges. And one of the great things you hear the Kenyans say sometimes, I'll hear them say something, it'll sound like a Canadian. And recreational hockey coming off the ice and saying, oh, that was great. I had such a rough week, and this just, you know, made my day. Everything melted off my back, all my stress, right? And it's a really good thing to see that transcend borders. And so sports can transcend borders, not just in that social way, but I think politically.
Okay. On that note, so let's say you're talking to someone out there who's watching, and they want to travel and have this experience, but maybe they're a little hesitant or they're a little nervous because it's an adventure, you know, traveling across the world. What kind of encouragement would you tell them about, you know, how you've experienced it and why they should, you know, the benefits of doing something like this? What would you tell them as advice?
When you're a regular tourist, you go to the usual places, you see the usual things, right? And that's okay. But, you know, for example, with the Howe International French League, it's great because you can do the sports and see the other things. So you actually get into the culture more. You get to meet the people. You get to find out what their lives are like, what their struggles are like, what their challenges and successes are in life. And you also learn from them, right? And regular travel tourism doesn't do that. And so being able to do a sport when you travel just opens up everything.
One last question. And then this could either have heard this a lot or it's going to be a little